So today for class, I wanted to help us have an intrinsic tool for equanimity. And a way to cultivate equanimity, of course, is to have an intellectual preference for it and to read the texts about it and then to try it on. I'm going to have equanimity. But we also have tools in the physical practice. One of the tools we use is the breath to help equalize or bring equanimity to the mind and the body. Another tool that I'm using right now is the eyes. And the tool for the eyes is actually called dristi, like how you focus, how you see, dristi. The seeing will be within. And yet what we do with the eyes is bringing a neurological response to the brain. So it's pretty key, actually, how we can train our neurological, mental, psychological, spiritual. We can train through the eyes. So let's start with a comfortable seat, just an inward seat. And you're welcome to rest your hands in your lap and you can close your eyes. And when you close your eyes, imagine that just for now, you're kind of drawing the curtains over the windows and the outside world fades from your awareness and the inner world becomes more present. When the inner world becomes more present, let's imagine that you're inside and you can slowly turn up a dimmer switch to brighten the view you have within. This is for our yoga practice. And I know that for many of us, we've had the experience at nighttime where we turn the lights up in the home and the windows actually reflect the inner home to us. We don't see the outside. When we close the eyes and we draw the curtains, we're only doing this temporarily for the purpose of this practice to be about renewal, like recharging. We're not putting our ostrich head into the sand. And so as you imagine this kind of brightening on the inside, rest your eyes and your breath and your mind all in one location. And let's make this location right now the back of the throat where you can feel the air gently passing. Now the breath does not need to be dynamic. It can actually be subtle. But as you breathe in, you can feel a light quality of air against the back of the throat. And as you breathe out, also the feeling of the air passing over the back of your throat. Let's make that passage really smooth. The movement of the air, very smooth. Notice the pace of the breath, but without needing to change it. And when you're noticing it, there will be a moment where you feel the sensation of the air. And then there's a little pause between the movements of the breath. There'll be a hint of stillness where the air is not moving. Keep your eyes consistently resting in that location, even when there's stillness. So I said to the first class today, you're in warrior training. And this kind of warrior training right here with the mind, the breath, the eyes, this is for the subtle superpowers of the warrior. This is not for the dynamic sort of musculoskeletal superpowers of the warrior. But these are very strong powers, the power of focus, concentration, patience, sensitivity, equanimity, non-distraction, and neither aversion nor clinging. And notice the quality of your attention and the quality of your mind. Just in this simple practice, simple is not the same as the word easy. It's a simple practice, an elegant practice. We get to reflect on how we were able to be present. And please join your hands at your heart. And we can sing together Sahana Vavatu. May this practice protect and nourish us. May it help us to be strong, virya, in a useful direction. So like strength of mind for equanimity. May our practice remind us of that which is luminous and help us to overcome that which pulls us down. And may we not feel animosity or impatience along the way. Let's begin. Sahana Vavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Savidyang Karavavai, Tejasvinavaditamastu, Ma Vidvishavai. Sahana Vavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Savidyang Karavavai, Tejasvinavaditamastu, Ma Vidvishavai. Sahana Vavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Savidyang Karavavai, Tejasvinavaditamastu, Ma Vidvishavai. Om Shanti Om Shanti Shanti Om. You may bow your head to your heart and release your hands. Please open your eyes. Okay, so we're actually going to begin with some work with the neck and shoulders. It'll be familiar to you, but I'm going to ask us to use this focus where the eyes, the breath, and the mind are all in the same location. I'm also going to ask you to start sitting in a chair, please. And I think Sarah has a really good viewing window and she has a good chair. So I'm going to instruct Sarah as our primary student. You'll see her on the spotlight. And then she's going to teach one of the poses in the sequence. Maybe in about 10 minutes or so, you'll hear from her teaching. And I'll be telling her what that is. So your superpowers I don't know maybe one of you can propose to me. I think that the word warrior is gender neutral. How do you feel about it? Do you need like warrior S, or you're okay with warrior? I can just say it's easier for me as the teacher. Gender neutral, we can agree on that. Okay, all right. Thank you, Sarah, for being our spotlight right now. Okay, so sit at the front edge of your chair, and I'd like you to reach back and hold the sides of the chair, where you either hold the legs or the upper back part of the chair, depending on the length of your arms. Squeeze your shoulders back and bend your elbows a little bit. So you really have to work from the shoulder and the elbow. You are holding the chair, and you can actually pull on it very slightly with your hands to help strengthen your shoulders for going back. Then bring your chin gently down towards your throat, just part way. Lift the base of your skull. And then place your mind and your breath and your eyes in the back of the throat once more. This time we'll begin to breathe a little bit more dynamically. Since it's a seated pose, you don't have to have the most supercharged dynamic ujjayi, but you can use a subtle form of the breath. As your eyes are sitting in the back of the throat, gazing in that direction, you can imagine the breath sound like an ocean, but a very smooth ocean. So the eyes would see an ocean not moving about so much, but its calm reflectivity. The sound of the breath, you want that to be smooth, so it reflects the intention that you have. Let's do 2 more breath cycles, noticing the stillness at the pause between the breaths, even that the air at the back of the throat momentarily is not moving. And you can exhale and release. Let both arms dangle for a moment. Your hands are likely to start feeling a little bit warmer. Relax the breath, but keep resting your gaze at the back of your throat. Even a subtle breath will have slight sensations back there. Okay, now I'm going to ask you to hold the back of the chair with only your left hand. Bring your right hand up to your sternum. And as you reach, just as you were doing a moment ago with the left hand, pull the left shoulder back and use your right hand to start turning your chest to the right. So in contrast to your left shoulder being back, you can even firmly place your fingers in the muscles at the left upper chest. So you're bringing your chest to the right, left shoulder back to the left. Now rotate your head to the right as far as it comfortably goes. Close your eyes and gaze inward at the back of the throat. Listen for how your breath comes through a pose where there's some rotation for your head, your neck, and the upper thoracic spine. We're using the right hand to remind the left upper chest that we're stretching there. And that's a dynamic sensation, but keep your mental focus at the subtle sensation in the throat. And then exhale, release your left arm and your right, bring your head to center. Pause and notice what's happening now. And it's possible that the left upper chest, left shoulder, arm, and hand all feel different than the right side. Now reach back with your right hand to hold the side of the chair. Place the left hand up on your sternum, and you can press your left fingers into the chest muscles there a little bit firmly. Roll your right shoulder back. Start turning your heart to your left, and also turn your head. The head will probably go a little farther than your chest goes. You may close your eyes so you're turning more from the base of your skull, not from your eyes. And listen for the subtle ujjayi sound in the back of your throat. It's natural for the mind to get distracted by strong sensations. Let's allow those sensations that are dynamic to exist, but with your warrior training, focus in at what is subtle at the back hollow of the throat. Do 2 more breath cycles, again with some awareness that there's a silence and a stillness between the moving parts of the breath. And then when you finish the next exhale, rotate back around to face forward and let both arms dangle again and take notice what is happening here. Now clasp your hands, please. And on the inhale, we're going to push the heels of the hands forward and let the spine round as if you were doing cat pose on the floor. And then exhale and pull your heart towards your hands, widen your elbows, squeeze the upper back, lift your gaze slightly. And then inhale, press forward, and as you round your spine, bring your head slightly down. And exhale, bring your heart forward, squeeze the upper back. Even if the eyes are closed, raise your head slightly. And inhale to press forward. Now these are stronger movements, larger movements. And it might be more difficult to have your mind rest at the back of your throat, but let's try it out. You guys are warriors in training. And I believe in your capacity to go to the subtle. No disrespect for the dynamic. We see that it's happening. We feel that it's happening. And keep your mind where the eyes, the breath, the back of the throat all meet. And do this one more time. Inhale to round like cat and exhale to lift like cow. And then with your head neutral, let the arms dangle. And pause to check in with the quality of your mind. You could sense not much moving breath, but you could sense in the back of the throat, the eyes resting right there. May the ocean of thoughts be more calm. We're going to go to a seated chair twist that Sarah's going to teach now. We'll be turning sideways in the chair and she'll be your instructor. I'll mute myself and she'll unmute herself.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, your sound.
Really. So let's start by turning to the right. Allowing both sits bones to make contact with the chair. Rest your hands on your thighs. Find the floor underneath your feet. Close your eyes. And drop back into your breath in the back of your throat. Allow your eyes and your mind to rest there. Sensing the stillness, the end of the inhale as it transitions to the exhale, and also the quiet stillness of your mind. The easy, settled ocean Now begin to rotate from your heart toward the back of your chair and place your hands on the back of the chair for a gentle twist. And now bring your attention back to the breath in the back of your throat. Notice that you can observe the sensations in your body, the shifts in your breath related to the twist, from that place of stillness with your breath, the back of your throat, and your eyes and your mind placed also at the back of your throat. Let's stay here for 2 more breath cycles. And then slowly release the twist and just take a moment facing your right, looking out over your knees with your eyes closed. Noticing the shifts of weight and also the movement of your breath in your torso. Refilling places that were in the twist possibly slightly constricted. Without disturbing that quietness of your mind and the breath at the back of your throat, walk yourself around to the other side. Notice the shifts of light possibly as you rotate around. And bring your hands back to your thighs and drop back into the stillness of your breath and your mind and your eyes at the back of your throat. Support to your sits bones and your feet. Taking time, maybe more so than usual, with your eyes closed to rotate toward the back of your chair and place your hands there. Inviting a twist to your left. And if you got caught up in the joy or the excitement of the movement, bring your mind back. And notice that you can observe those sensations. From that place of stillness with your eyes resting on the back of your throat, your mind, your breath, all resting there. From that place of stillness, you can sense a shift in how the breath is changing in relationship to the twist. We'll take 1 more breath cycle here. And then slowly, keeping your mind and your eyes still, rotate back. And release your hands to your side. And slowly walk yourself back around to face front on your chair. And open your eyes.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Okay, warriors in training, we're going to come up to standing. I'll shift my chair to be a side view. So when you set up, we're going to be doing downward dog pose with the chair, which is a very common pose for us to do in this class. And when we're doing the pose, I'm going to be asking you to turn your head to one side or the other side. Let me just get the proper camera lit up for you guys so you can see. It's this phone camera, not the one that you're seeing me on right now. So I'm going to be asking us to do a little head rotation in this position when we're doing it. And one thing to consider about that is, I used to be a swimming teacher, so I talked about this actually with swimming students. When your arm is going up like this, and I'm going to have you rotate your head in your downward dog pose, I actually don't want your head to be down and then rotating. You can think of as if you were swimming and you're going to take a breath, that you probably don't want your head falling into the water. The air's over here. So when we're in the downward dog with this chair and we're going to rotate the head, I want you to sense your head is staying between your arms, not dropping down and then rotating for this morning. Okay, so place your hands on the seat of the chair. And as you do, when you step back to your dog pose, take the distance that feels comfortable for you this morning. Remember that we're not pushing on the chair. It's not a grocery cart. We are actually pulling back away from the chair. So there can be some feeling of traction for your spine. Let's bring the Ujjayi breath in a little more dynamically now. So when we were seated and we were working with Sarah, that was a more subtle form of Ujjayi. Now you can make it a little bit stronger. So you're turning up the volume knob. And imagine that this is also going to brighten your access to the inner body. And then while you're in this downward dog pose, please rotate your head as far as it comfortably goes to your right. So your nose might actually touch your right bicep. And from the base of your skull or the back of your throat, rotate to face down and then turn your head as far as it comfortably goes to your left. In each case, when you're twisting right and left, try to sense that the breath is still smooth. We're not sort of wringing out the neck, we're rotating. We don't want to have a sense that there's a kink in the line. From the base of your skull and the back of your throat, rotate your head to center. And now draw forward to plank pose. So come up on your tiptoes, use your feet to support your balance. And as you're coming forward, rest over, shoulders over your wrists. Breathing in and out through the nose. You don't need more dynamic breath in plank than you did in downward dog, but you might hear the breath a little bit more since the ears are not now covered from the outside. And exhale, reach backwards to your downward dog pose again. And then step one foot up to the seat of the chair, the toes of the chair, the other foot up to the toes of the chair, and rise up to standing. And let's take 2 blocks to put on the chair seat, please. So when you place them, go ahead and place them both flat like this for now. You can always decide for yourself, like some of you are not taller, some of you are my height. The chair that you're using might be the height that I have. Maybe you have a taller or shorter chair. So this can be rearranged. We can do it according to our needs. So please turn your right foot directly towards the chair. Take a wide stance with your left foot set back from the chair. And sweep your arms wide. Great. Bend your left knee, or right knee, excuse me. Sometimes I'm mirroring, sometimes I'm not. Bend your right knee to warrior 2. And as you go to rotate your head to the right, let's try this. Reach through your left arm, make it long. Take your left chest with your right fingers and start rotating. So it's not that your left arm goes back behind you. I want you to keep it long and light, but imagine you're turning even the left upper chest. Then you turn the sternum slightly. And then gaze out over your right fingertips. Now I believe that you guys can close your eyes and keep your balance from within. And listen to the breath sound in the inner ear. Place your eyes inside the back of the throat. So your eyes, your breath, and your mind are all together. Even though there are dynamic sensations and responsibilities in the pose, stay with the subtle inside. Stretch across the front of your chest in both directions. One more inhale. And then place your right hand on the two blocks and sweep your left arm past your left ear. Good. And you can gaze down towards your right hand. Rotate your heart to your left, collarbones to your left. And then from the back of your throat and the base of your skull, begin turning your head to your left as far as it will comfortably go, which might be as far as you went in the downward dog, but could be less because right now gravity is opposing you as you turn your nose to your left. Listening to the breath sound and keeping your eyes at the back of your throat. Now inhale, rise up to warrior two, gazing to your left hand up. And then join your palms together. Make your feet parallel. And let's step the heels, toes together. And we're going to change sides with the chair. I will change my chair. You don't have to change your chair, but I want to change so I can keep seeing you. Okay, so now turn your left foot towards the chair. Right heel slightly out, toes slightly in. Sweep your arms wide. Okay, so we're stretching the right arm. Be enthusiastic there. And bring your left fingertips to the right upper chest and give a little stretch right there. Between the reach of your right hand and the firmness of your left hand, stretch out the muscles in the right upper chest. Yeah, okay, good. And sweep your left arm out. I appreciate that you're not raising your arm up or sliding it back. You've got it steady. Gaze out over your left fingertips and let's come to warrior two. Again, I know all of you in the class and I have confidence that you could balance in this position with your eyes closed. Go ahead and close them and place your eyes in the back of your throat. The breath, these are your subtle warrior skills. You get to keep the strength of your musculoskeletal body that comes with you. But these subtle warrior skills, they're like mind training that will help us not to spend the fuel tank unwisely. Now, keeping both legs steady, listen for the silence between the movements of the breath and feel for the stillness that the back of the throat experiences, however briefly that is. And then place your left hand on the two blocks. Without gazing up yet, raise your right arm past your right ear. Rotate your heart to the right. Collarbones to your right. And from the back of your head and the base of your skull, start turning your head to your right. And again, gravity is now opposing you. So even if in downward dog you could touch your nose to your right bicep, you may or may not make it this time. You could decide that the blocks under your left hand, you want them to be shorter or taller. Now breathing in, I'd like you to exhale completely and then use your inhale to float back up to warrior two. Gaze to your right, palm face up. And then exhale and return. Release both arms and let's go heel toe to center. So You possibly had some heat getting released with that process. That's a good thing. We call those yoga hot flashes. It's like a myofascial release, or sometimes you're releasing the pitta that should not go up to the mind. The pitta that if it went up, it's going out, so that we have the fire for digesting, not the fire for burning out in the mind. So now we're going to take it again to the first side. We're going to step there from downward dog pose. So what I'm going to do is face this way. I will step forward. You'll see the back of me. On the other side, you'll see the front of me. And I'm going to put my trust in you guys. So let's squish the blocks to center so they occupy the middle of the chair. Place your hands outside of the blocks and step backwards into your chair dog pose. And in the chair dog pose, come back into the breath sound in the hollow of the throat. And then turn your left heel slightly in. So you're going to see your left heel rotating towards your right heel. Pick up your right foot, bring your knee up to your chest, and glide forward without touching down just yet. So your right knee is hovering. The right toes are like a Christmas ornament. And then place your right foot firmly down. Add strength to it. Press into your right shin, your right knee, your right thigh. Walk your right hand up to the block and come up to your side angle pose. Rotate your head as far as it comfortably goes to your left. Now here we go with a little moving practice. We're going to inhale, rise up, warrior two, gaze to your left. And now exhale, reach to side angle pose, but with your right hand, take it back alongside your right hip towards your left foot. And inhale, rise up, warrior two, gaze to your left. Exhale, rotate your pelvis, side angle pose. Sweep your right arm past your right hip towards your left foot. Left arm past your left ear. Inhale, rise up, press into your right hip and your right heel. Exhale, warrior two becomes side angle. And inhale, side angle becomes warrior two. Last time, exhale, side angle. And then place both hands on the edges of the chair. And when you step backwards to dog pose, plan to feel a little heat in your body, moving in, moving out in different areas of the body. And connect again to what's happening at the back of your throat. So we may have these excursions into something dynamic or energizing. We may even have that today with various kinds of news. And then we can still come back, we can return. The subtle skills of the warrior. Turn your right heel in so you can see that on the mat. Start coming forward and pick up your left knee towards your chest, but don't touch it down just yet. Let the toes dangle. So this is using your strength for both arms, for your right leg. Now as you place your left foot, start pressing more firmly into your left foot, your toes, your heel, your left knee, your thigh. Walk your left hand up to the block and come into side angle pose. Find the steady ground in your feet, your legs, your strength. And here we go, moving. It's about 5 times. So inhale, rise up, warrior two, gaze to your right. And exhale, side angle pose. So sweep your left arm past your left hip, reach towards your right foot. Inhale, rise up, warrior two, gaze to your right. Exhale, side angle. Inhale, rise up. If you're able to, notice what's happening in the back of the throat. If you'd like, You could try this movement with your eyes closed. What you might notice is adding one thing doesn't overwhelm your threshold, but adding another thing may. And you have to be able to pull back to where you have stamina, sanity, and clarity. Last one, rise up, warrior two. Last one, warrior two, becomes side angle pose, which becomes downward facing dog pose. And please walk forward towards your chair. Let's put the 2 blocks aside. Rise up to standing and just feel if your body's having a yoga hot flash reaction. That can be a benefit to you. I'm going to recommend that you turn your chair out of the way, but keep it. You will need it again. And then bring these 2 blankets. Mine are pre-folded because I used them earlier. So you're going to fold them. You have a little stack of blankets. Okay, so this is going to be for your psoas and your core muscles, which do not include your rectus abdominis or your obliques. Those are called global muscles and they do come in to help, but I'm really trying to address the core muscles, which will be your pelvic floor, your transverse abdominis, your diaphragm, and these tiny back muscles called multifidi. I want to use those muscles and to lengthen your psoas. So what you're going to do is you'll have your hips on the blankets. So if you lie sideways and then roll into position, it's easier than if you sit on the blankets and lie backwards. You'll probably get where you're going, but maybe faster than you had intended. Okay, so put your sacrum on the blankets, please, and let both knees come in towards your chest. So gravity can help with this process. This isn't really using that much musculoskeletal control yet. And I'm going to have you just rest and notice that that's gravity helping you. Now start to inhale a little more spaciously, even if the thighs are touching the sides of the abdomen. And when you exhale, make a teeny tiny cocktail straw shape of the lips and try to blow the breath out silently for a long, smooth exhale, where the muscles you may sense will be pelvic floor, eventually the deep low belly, and a muscle that wraps across the abdomen horizontally. It's called transverse abdominis. You may sense the other muscles on top of that helping with your exhale. But at the end of a long exhale like that, when you've squeezed, you then profoundly relax the belly and let the next in-breath just kind of waft in to the system. Now let's try that twice sequentially. So breathe in spaciously. Blow out like a straw. Deeply relax the belly. The next inhale will just come to you. And then do it one more time. Breathe in deliberately through the nose. Blowing out like a tiny straw. At the end of such an exhale, you relax the belly and let the next couple breath cycles just come to you. Please keep your right knee close into your chest and lengthen your left leg out to open the left hip flexors and your left psoas. You can have the left leg be relaxed at the moment. Invite your body to come to ease. So gravity is supporting this yoga pose for your left psoas to have a release right now. Now we're going to inhale through the nose and you'll pick up the left heel, lengthen into your heel. So that's going to have your psoas be in what we call a lengthened and strengthened position. That'll be during the inhale through the nose. And then you're going to exhale out the mouth like a little straw and lower the back of your heel to the floor. And then we'll deeply relax the belly. Let's do it together. So inhale, raise your left heel and lengthen. And blowing out like a straw. Lower your left heel slowly, slowly to the floor, touching at the end of your straw exhale. Deeply relax your belly, your left leg, and your mind. And then bring your left knee back up to your chest. So left knee to your left shoulder. And take the right leg out to the psoas stretch. And as you relax it, you have the support of the blankets here. So this is a gravity supported psoas stretch. Invite your right leg and psoas to relax. You may also soften the mind, the activities of the mind. If your mind is sort of tempted to wander about, you can consider coming back into the throat with your eyes, your mind, and a very subtle breath. And we're going to prepare for raising the right leg. It's just a momentary lift. When you're reaching out through the heel, you are lengthening and strengthening the psoas. Let's do that with an inhale through the nose, please. And blowing out through the tiny straw of the lips. Lower your right heel slowly, slowly, touching when the exhale finishes. And deeply relax the belly and your mind and your psoas. And then please bring your right knee up and place your foot on the floor. Touch your left foot down. Excuse me. So both feet are flat on the floor. We can call this supported bridge pose actually. So take notice what is the feeling tone in the body and any heat or energy you feel in the lower body right now. You open your right arm out to the side, and keeping your right shoulder anchored, just tip both knees over to your left. And you can tip them with your feet on the floor. Rotate your head as far as you comfortably can to your right, so your nose and your knees are opposite right now. Please reach your right arm to the right. Your head rotation is to the right. As you drop both knees to your left, try lengthening out through both thighs so they're not actually lazy. You can tone the butt muscles and start noticing your right hip flexors. If you squeeze the right butt muscles and reach into your right thigh, because we started with your hips elevated, with your feet separated, and the knees came down, your right hip is actually in extension right now, not in flexion. Let's rotate back to center, please. You open your left arm out to the side. Keeping your feet hip distance, tip them both down to your right. So you're then going to press into your left hip and reach through your left thigh. So your hip flexors might get highlighted right there. Turn your nose as far as you comfortably can to your left. And try, this is a more subtle pose than Warrior Two, for example, or the psoas stretch. So try having your mind stay at rest, eyes, breath, mind together, maybe at the back of the throat. And then exhale and roll back to center. And this is where we're going to want your chair to come back into cue here. I don't know if I can do that with my foot. No, I can't. Not without making a lot of noise. So we're going to place our legs up on the chair seat. And since we moved it out of the way, we have to bring it back in. So wise action is roll to your side, come up, return the chair into position. Lie on your side. So your hips are on the blankets, your shoulder is on the floor, and you're going to roll into position. I did that maybe more quickly than some because I practiced for many years. But when you come into your position, you can also cover with a blanket if you'd like to. You can also use your eye pillow. Some of you have a dog or a cat to put on the belly. Some of you might have a sandbag to go on the tops of your thighs and your hip bones. Yeah. And let your attention come inward, like we've now drawn the curtains on the windows. We brightened access to the inner body. Now we're going to let everything rest. So during this time, you don't have to have any particular thing for the breath, no particular pace or strategy. And drop your hands where they are most comfortable and let your eyes rest in the simple experience of your hands. Now allow your body to rest and for your mind to stay at home in your hands. And that is to give your mind a place to have refuge. And also then to have your body receive the full benefits of your practice. Allow yourself to rest deeply, deeply, moment to moment. Shavasana is one of the most important investments you have in your practice. This is where the new neural pathways are not just turned on and laid down, but deepened. Allow your mind to stay at rest, just in the simplicity of your hands. All the activities of the body that nourish your integration, the processes of your brain are making this new mind and body map. Allow that to happen without your thinking mind intruding or diverting. And we're going to rest for about 2 minutes more. Don't let the mind wander. This is such an important time. You're like a sponge soaking in the new mind and body maps, the systems that tend to your well-being. They have freedom to work right now when your mind is neither distracting, diverting, nor intruding. Now bringing some awareness just to the back of your throat. So move your mind from your hands to the throat. Place your eyes at the back of your throat. And sense whatever subtle breath might be there just now. When you feel more connected to that, then make a transition from Shavasana back to sitting. We're going to close with meditation. Take your time returning. We're going to practice this meditation. Our guest teacher, Anne, is going to guide us for a few minutes. I will spotlight her video. And thank you, Anne, for being with us.
Thank you. So as you come to a seated position, continue to turn your senses inward. And let's rest in the stillness that we've been cultivating throughout this practice. And again, you can bring your mind, eyes, and breath to rest at the back of your throat. And simply notice the subtle sensations as the air passes through the back of your throat with each inhalation and exhalation. You might notice the quality of your breath without trying to change it. Just notice any subtleties, sensations. And as your attention is resting at the back of your throat, soften your eyelids. If there is any remaining tension, you can soften your eyelids, soften your face, and invite a balanced, smooth inhalation and exhalation. And again, you can bring your attention to the stillness at the end of each inhalation and at the end of each exhalation. Simply notice the pause, the quiet, the stillness in between each breath. And as you rest your attention in each pause, just again notice the quality of mind that comes with stillness. And now you may bring your hands together at your heart. You may bow your head to your hands. Release your hands to your knees. And when you're ready at your own pace, slowly and gently open your eyes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anne. Yeah, so in yoga, we call the word for equanimity is upeksha, upekshanam. This is in the Yoga Sutra 1.33, I believe. I have amnesia, so you'll have to do a little research in case I'm off on that. Upekshanam means we have an evenness of heart and mind and an equalness in every direction, regardless of what's happening with the ocean of life, that we have this evenness. We are not strongly attached to any agenda. So we're not holding with expectation, clinging and grasping. We're also not having aversion to the best of our ability, not in resistance, not in reaction. So we're in equanimity. At times in our language culture here, we say things like, well, I know it'll all work out, or I'm okay with however it turns out. And we're probably trying to be okay in this regard. What I'd like to point to is, however it turns out, there will be difficulties for a massive number of people. However the election turns out, there will be difficulties of some kind, multiple kinds. But perhaps the phrase really means something essential in me will be able to greet whatever comes, because that place is stable. That place has equanimity. It has community and connection. So something in me will be able to greet what is coming. Rather than saying, I'll be okay with whatever it happens to be, as if we're talking about the outcome, we're talking about something inside, something within us. So we might say, however it turns out, I'll be okay, when we're actually strongly attached to something but trying to be yogic. So rather than that, we're going to say, however it turns out, there's a part of me that's going to be resilient, full-hearted, practicing. There may be parts that are also in disappointment and devastation, and parts that are excited or enthusiastic, but let's point to the internal. This is as taught through yoga, so we may have other teachers in different realms, but this is coming from yoga. So thank you to Anne and Sarah for also teaching today. I really appreciate it. Thank you all for being here and sharing your practice with us this morning. It's a big day here in the US, which means we're impacting other countries too. So it's a big day. We'll keep our hearts and our equanimity connected with each other.